Okay, this is a short video to show you how to make some of those interesting windows on the mansion house in Tinkercad. So here I have Tinkercad, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a box here and I'm just going to make myself a wall. Okay, so I'm just going to make it maybe say 10 mil thick, and let's make it quite wide. Okay, and then I'm going to make it quite high as well. So what I want to do, so that's my wall that the windows are going to go into. What I want to do is I want to try and replicate, so if we just look back at these windows, they've sort of got some stonework which sticks out. So what we're going to do is recreate that. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to work on a sort of rough window design. It's probably about that. Let's make it a little bit higher, so maybe 30. What's that? 30 by, let's say 15. Yeah, 15 will do. Just so you get. No, actually, I'm going to make that 20 because that seems to make more sense to me. So there's my window, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lift it up a little bit, so this can now go into the wall like that. Okay, now I'm just going to slim this down a little bit so it fits just inside the wall like that. So I want the window to just stick out a bit. Okay, now what I can do, if I'm being really smart here, I suppose, you could maybe add a little bit of a radius to this to give it a little bit of a curve. Might look quite nice. So that looks sort of okay. And again, we could put that in a little bit more. So now what I want to do is I want to make a nice window sort of shape, and if we look back you can see that these bits here is the windows, they're sort of angled in a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a square base pyramid and I'm just going to have it facing that way. You can see it's onto the wall, so it's just going to be like that. So what I'm going to do is I want it to be the other way round. So I'm going to hit on here, so you can see here, I'm going to swizz that through 180 degrees, just like that, so it's pointing the other way. Now this is where we need to fiddle about with it a bit, and what we're going to do is we're going to get this lined up. So actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to select my window, that the sort of stonework that's sticking out. I'm going to select my square base pyramid, and then over here up at the top right I'm going to align them. So I just want to align it in the center, just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, let's look at the height. I think I had it as about 30. So I'm going to say I want this to be 25. So let's go for 25. Okay, now let's look at the width here. I think the width I said was 20, so that's probably okay. I just need to think about my positioning of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this square base pyramid into a hole. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the left and right sort of arrow keys just to move it in. So I'm hoping it's not really coming through, so what I need to do is I need to make this dimension here a bit longer. So let's make it say 60. Okay, so that looks, maybe could even be a little bit longer. That's probably about right. So now let's just have a look and see what happens if I select everything. So I'm just going to select everything just for the moment. I just want to see what one of them looks like. So now if I do that, you can see I've got my, now I think that's a little bit, there's not enough around the outside. So what I could do, okay, so that's got a nice shape there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm just going to make this a bit wider. So I'm going to say that's, say, 30 millimeters. That's probably, maybe 25 feels probably slightly better. I'm going to select that rectangle that I've got selected, plus the square base pyramid, and I'm gonna then just center them. I'm gonna put the rectangle in charge and put it like that. Okay, so now that's starting to look a little bit better. And maybe what I could do actually, which I didn't do actually, is I'm going to select a rectangle, select my square base pyramid. I'm going to align it, because I only aligned it one way. I'm going to select the red square there, and I'm just going to move that to the center like that. Right, so now we've got our window. So select everything, and I can group it. There you go. I now have quite a nice window. Now actually that could be a little bit taller looking at it, but it'll do for what I want it to do at the moment. Now, I've made one window. Now this bit is nice and cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ungroup everything, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, right, I'm going to select my rectangle here. I'm going to select the whole, the square base pyramid. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate them. Now you can go here and duplicate. I can just do Control D. Now what I should be able to do is move it across. So I'm just using the arrow keys. Brilliant. So I've got it there. So this is quite nice. So that's fine. That looks wonderful. Right. So what I can now do, if I press Control D again, it will do the same. And I can do the same. So I've now got 4 windows. 5 windows, in fact. I've got 4 new ones. So now I've got those. I could group them all, and it would punch holes through this wall, and we'd end up with some nice windows. However, what you can also do is select all of them. Now you've got to be careful here, because what I want to do is I want to select this one and this one. In fact, I'm going to select everything, and then I'm hoping press Shift and click on the wall, and it'll take it out. I've now selected just these 5 windows. So what I can now do is I can duplicate them, Control D, and now I can move them up. So I'm going to move them up, and I'm happy with, I could go with that actually. Let's go with that. Now what I can do is I can in effect make myself a tower. So you can see this. I'm going to come back a little bit. If I now press Control D, I can have 6 loads of windows, and all I need to do is now go in and change the height of this. So now I've got my wall of windows selected all, and if I group it and we look inside, I will now have hopefully some more interesting windows. There we go. All by just making one. So what I would actually suggest you do is you need to keep a copy of one of these windows. So that was my mistake. So I'm going to just take that. I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to press Shift to get one of these. I'm going to duplicate it, just get it out of the way. So that's my sort of one I can duplicate whenever I want. And all I need to do is select that and group it, and I have a wall of sort of interesting windows. Okay, now you could do this with a cone, so you could make all sorts of interesting shapes, but that should help you make, hopefully, some really interesting windows, a bit like the mansion house. So enjoy!